اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاء المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العليم ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم بلغ أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات استوى بسورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الإخلاص والصلوات.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. For those who don't know me, I'm one of the madrasa teachers. I teach class 9. What I'm going to try and attempt to do today is just share a little bit on Imam Muhammad Al-Baqir alayhi salam. Please recite salawat. I'm going to use the madrasa portal, which we use in class. This is a band C, so the level of knowledge is for an 8-year-old, 9-year-old. So please excuse me if I don't fully justify the magnificence of this Imam through what we have here. All right, so if we go to the objectives of us, so what we're going to try and do within about 10 minutes is just cover a few details about our Imam, our fifth Imam. Abbas, we're in the sorry, at least I was able to pick that. So as Abbas is putting that out, the objectives of today within 10 minutes, we'll try and cover a little bit facts about Imam Muhammad Al-Baqir. We'll cover the two characteristics of Imam Muhammad Al-Baqir that comes quite clearly, and the lessons that we take from him. Band C. Yeah. In Aima. Aima, yeah. So as you can see, what Abbas is doing here is navigating to the chapters. Yeah, there, Abbas. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there. So if we go to the objectives, Abbas. So just a bit of facts about Imam Al-Mahdi. The contribution that Imam Mahdi has made to Islam, and it is profound, absolutely profound. And the virtues of contentment and humility, and how we can apply that in our lives. Plus, if we go to the lessons, one of the key points that we want to make here, there's a couple of Arabic words that we want to go through today. The verse is Surah A'la. But a key word there is Imam Muhammad al-Baqir's title, which is Baqir al-Ilm, the splitter of knowledge. And you'll see why that is the case. In fact, I was just coming from teaching class 9, and you will see the topic there of his science and how he was a huge contributor. You'll be able to understand this title of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. Abbas, next. So the other word is obviously one of the characteristics of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, which is contentment in Arabic, is qana, right? Contentment. Next, Abbas. And the other word is tawaddu, which is humility. So just remember those two words. They're going to come at some point during the lessons. Okay, a little bit of fact about Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. The father, Imam Zainul Abidin. The mother, Fatima bint al-Hasan. Whose daughter is he? Is she? Whose daughter is she? And this is the most interesting thing about Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. His connection through his mom and his father all land up to Bibi Fatima, the daughter of Imam al-Hasan. Right? He was, his imama was about 19 to 20 years. That is a very important fact, and why he was able to do what he did together, set up the positions for Imam Jafar Sadiq to come and run after him. He was born 1st Rajab, and he passed away at the age of 57 in 7 Zulhijjah 114 AH. One of the key important points about Imam Muhammad al-Baqir is there were 3 imams at the time of Karbala. You know who they were? So obviously Imam Hussein, the second one, Imam Zainul Abidin, and the third one, yes. So Imam Muhammad al-Baqir was about 3.5 years. He stayed with Imam Hussein for about his grandfather for about 3.5 years, and then under the custody of his father. Just like all our imams, and we tend to talk about our imams being referred to certain titles. That doesn't mean that they don't have all the other characteristics, but it's amplifying that particular characteristic based on the historical events at the time. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir at the time, because of the political situation less severe than some of the other imams, the splitting of knowledge and the madrasas and the teaching of knowledge, that's why his particular title of Baqir al-Ilm was coming out quite clearly. Our imams had very noble characteristics. Similarly, our Imam Muhammad al-Baqir also had very noble characteristics. The two that we're going to touch on today is, I said earlier, contentment and humility. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir was 30 years old when his father passed away, and he then took over the imama. But Imam Muhammad al-Baqir started solving people's problem right at the early age, his knowledge level. Right at the age of 9, he started solving people's problems. Next, Abbas. Yeah. Page 4. Yes, this is the topic that we covered, that there were 3 imams after that, Abbas. One of the biggest contribution, and I was teaching my class right now about science and how the more science continues, the more it proves the existence of God. That was our topic, right? Do you know why that we have a lot of science during the time of Imam Baqir and Imam Jafar Sadiq? Do you know why? During the time Umayyads and the Khilaf of Umayyad, there were a lot of fightings at that time. So they were quite busy in their own ways. Less pressure on Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. So he started teaching and investing a lot of time in teaching the Quran, teaching the Sunnah, starting to place the positions of the foundation for Imam Jafar Sadiq to come and teach. The amount of science and knowledge that got discovered during the time of Imam Baqir And Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, where we had algebra and all sorts of things that is still continuing today. Imagine, just imagine, when you look at the power of our Imams, these two Imams managed to do what we believe is profound. Imagine if the rest of our Imam had the same opportunity. Just reflect what would have been the power. Now, importantly, imagine the power of Imam Al-Mahdi, alayhi salam, when he comes. Yeah. So Imam Muhammad al-Baqir contributed a lot to Islam and setting the foundation of madrasa. When we talk, we are the Jafariya, that's the foundation, right? Next. So this concept of madrasa, this portal and all of that, this all started during the time of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. No, we're not going to do the cross. So the first noble characteristic of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir is contentment. It is the difference between what you need and what you want. Sometimes we get confused between the two. Sometimes we want something only to realize we didn't need it. How many of you have had those examples? Right? When that want goes away, the need for want goes away, you realize, well, I didn't need it. Right? Okay. Imam Baqir said a very good saying here. The person who is greedy for things in this world is like a silkworm. The more it wraps silk around itself, the more difficult it is for it to come out of it until it dies, very sadly. Right? Next. This is a very good story. So one day, people came to Imam Baqir. They found him very sad. They learned that his son was very sick. He was very sad. There's no doubt that when you're a parent, you get worried about your children when they're sick. And then when he comes out, they find Imam in a very different position where he's feeling much better now. But you know what happened between when he was sad and when he was a little bit better? His son passed away. And when we talk about contentment, there is no doubt that we should do everything we get in our power. So long as our children are sick, we help them. But when Allah has designed and has a plan, and God forbid something happens, we have to accept our position, right? We've lost our parents, we've lost our mom, we've lost our parents. We tend to mourn a little bit more that actually defies God's plan and our acceptance of God's plan. So this is a very good example of that. Next, Abbas. So part of the madrasa is to bring our students back to the Quran. This is a verse of the Holy Quran. And it is from chapter number 25, verse 63. Abbas, can you play it?
وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما.
This verse talks about Imam Muhammad al-Baqir's second characteristic, which is the humility. Look at what the Holy Quran says about humility. You go down fast to the translation of the verse. And the servants of the benefit of the beneficent Allah are those who walk humbly on the earth. And when the ignorant people talk to them, what do they say? Peace, right? We have to reflect when we are winning, when we are doing something, are we humble in how we respond to that? That was one of the characteristics of our Imams. All our Imams, not only Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, all our Imams were very humble on this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this message: walk on earth humbly. whether we're winning in sports, whether we're getting good marks for the children, whether you are playing sports so well, whether you've just won a game, be humble with our people. Yeah? Next of us. So these are some of the examples, and these are very much, I won't go into this, these are very much student related. When you're playing games, when you have a fault, you ask for forgiveness and accept your mistakes. That's all being humble. So I'll stop here. Yeah. I'm hoping that you got a little bit about Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. Like I said, please forgive me because this is not at a level that would justify the magnificence of our Imam. Please recite salawat, please.
Jazakallah, Brother Hussein. Without further ado, I would like to request our respected scholar, Sheikh Mohsin, to present his lecture with Allah Talat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أحسنتم حج طيب الله أنفاسكم. بلغ العلا بكماله بلغ العلا بكماله كشف الدجى بجماله حسنت جميع خصاله صلوا عليه وآله صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أشرف المرسلين وسيد العالمين نبي الرحمة أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد. We congratulate the Imam of our time, Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, on this night, the night of the 1st of Rajab, the month of Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi wa ya'sub al-Din Ali ibn Abi Talib, on the birth of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala. One of the most famous virtues of Imam al-Baqir, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, is the salutation that was sent to him through one of the companions, the most respected companions, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, and that's when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi named him and gave him his nickname. Shaykh ibn Shahr Ashub, in his book Al-Manaqib, he speaks about this event, and he speaks about this narration, that it's one of the most famous narrations. And all of our scholars and the ulama, the scholars of Iraq, the scholars of Medina, they mentioned this narration and they narrated it from Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari concerning Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. And the narration says that Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says that for my father, al-Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, virtues that none of my fathers have it. None of the Imams have it. That Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi told Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, you will be alive when Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam will be born. Please deliver my salutations to him. When we read the lives of Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim, I just want to talk about this point concerning the lecture that I gave on the last Saturday about Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. When we talk about Ahlul Bayt in general, whether they are males or females, kids or adults, they are role models to both genders, men and women. Sayyidah Zahra, she's a role model to men and women. And I received a message that says that I mentioned something that was misunderstood about Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam when she says that it's best for women not to see men or the man to see them, and about the daycare and how the woman should always concentrate on raising her kids. That doesn't mean that they're not allowed to work. It means it's the opposite. It's better, the woman will get a better level in the day of judgment if she helps her husband. But what I meant was, when you depend on the daycare and other people to raise your children, and you will see that your children are getting affected by the teaching there, it is more important to concentrate on raising your kid, for a man or for a woman. It's better than gaining money. I prefer, as a man, sitting at home. If my children need it, I have to start in my house first, then I start outside. That means, and I meant that it's the best level, is the level that Sayyidah Zahra alayhi salam speaks about. It doesn't mean that she is not allowed to work. It's the opposite. Of course, taking into consideration the rulings of mixing and talking to the opposite gender in the proper way with the proper hijab. So as Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, his life was a lesson to both of us, males and females. So when I mentioned this narration and that this virtue was uniquely for Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, how? We understand that Imam Al-Baqir was the only Imam that the Prophet salawatullahi wasalam alayhi speaks in specific about to deliver the salutation and gave him the nickname of Al-Baqir alayhi salam. We read this a lot, we heard this a lot, but there are some sides of this narration it's important to concentrate about in order for us to learn some lessons after Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. One of the points that we derive from the narration is the emphasis and the interest that the Prophet ﷺ shows to deliver that salutation and to give that nickname to Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam. What gave us this result? That he gave Jabir guarantee. He guarantees to Jabir the safety from the fire of hell if he delivers that message. He says, إذا ولد ولدي محمد بن علي, if my son Muhammad ibn Ali is born, فصر إليه, go to him while he's still young and tell him that I give him my salutation and kiss him on his forehead, because if you do, that would be the safeguard for you from the fire of hell. Number two, the emphasis and the interest that Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari showed. And here there is a very important thing for us. Jabir, he showed interest in delivering this message to Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, and his emphasis and his interest was very astonishing, was very surprising. In the narrations, that Jabir started to walk in the streets of Medina. Just, I want you to imagine that. Imagine an old man with white beard, white hair, putting the imama in a way, covering his face, walking in the streets, and he's screaming, Ya Baqir, Ya Baqir, Ya Baqir, till the people started to think that he is crazy. They started to say, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, Jabir ibn Abdullah, he is the last man standing of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, وَكَانَ مُنْقَطِعًا إِلَيْنَا أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. He was very loyal to us. He was very loyal to us, and he used to sit in the masjid of Al-Madinah, wearing the amama that way, covering his face, and calling Ya Baqir all the time, till the people said that he's crazy, and he used to say, no, I'm not crazy, but I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi says that you will be alive when my son Muhammad will be alive. When you see him, tell him that I send my salutation, فَإِنَّهُ يَبْقِرُ الْعِلْمَ بَقْرًا. He will split the knowledge open. When you look at Jabir, when I read this, I said, oh Allah, I want you to make me the Jabir for Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, how was he walking in the street? Calling the Imam of his time. Imam Baqir was young. Till the people said that he was crazy. He was old man, white hair, has his own respect. A person who sat with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, running in the street, didn't care about his age. didn't care about what people would say about him, yet he was looking for the Imam of his time. I want to be the Jabir of Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. This is a role model to be a person who waits the Imam of his time. And he received an order from the Prophet. We receive an order from the Prophet and the Fatima al-Zahra and the Imams. أفضل أعمال أمتي الصبر وانتظار الفرج. The best of deeds of my followers is patience and waiting for the faraj of صاحب العصر والزمان الإمام الحجة عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم صل على. And what shows the interest of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari in that as well, that not just when he walked in the streets and calling Imam al-Baqir and he saw Imam al-Baqir, he delivered the message. He kissed Imam al-Baqir on his forehead and he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi sends you his salam. In the house of Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he repeated the same thing. When Imam Zayn al-Abidin visited Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari when he was sick, he did it again. When he asked about where is Imam al-Baqir, he said in one of the schools, he went to the school and delivered the message again. It means every chance he had, he delivered the message. He showed that I am here, O the Imam of my time. This is how we are supposed to be to the Imam of our time. How many chances do we get to pledge allegiance again and again to Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman? How many Fridays we are living? How many mornings after Salat al-Fajr we are being up reciting Dua al-Ahd? How many chances do we have? Heaps. And heaps of orders from Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Jabir, one order, few chances, he took the chance. He obeyed the order. Another question, why all this interest on delivering the salutation to Imam al-Baqir and his name? That name, Baqir. To answer that, there are 3 points. First, the meaning of Al-Baqir. When we see Imam Sajjad doesn't call his son Muhammad, he calls him Ya Baqir. Nadi Baqir, ud'u li al-Baqir, wa qultu lil-Baqir. He only calls him by that name. Amr ibn Shimr, he asks Jabir ibn Yazid al-Ju'fi, which was one of the companions of Ahl al-Bayt, of As-Sadiqain. He asked him why Al-Baqir was called Al-Baqir. He said because he splits open the knowledge. And that is the translation of it in English. When you say Baqir, Baqr in Arabic it means stabbing. But stabbing, there is different words for it in Arabic. But when you say Baqr, it means stabbing with a special knife, a special kind of a knife. It's not a knife that has 2 sides only. It's a big knife that it's like a cylinder from the top, very thick and very sharp, that when you stab something, or when they used to kill people with it used to reach to the inside and take the insides out. So Baqar al-ilm, it means that there is a shell for the knowledge and there is a deep end for the knowledge. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam broke that shell and went deep inside that knowledge and brought that and showed it to the people, as Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi says, لأنه يبقر العلم بقرا فيشقه شقا. He cracks it open ويظهره إظهارا, and shows it to people to make it very obvious for them. His knowledge is different to those used to name themselves scholars at the time of Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Their knowledge was the shells, while Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam his knowledge was the deep. Here, what do we understand from here? When the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa makes special salutation to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, because the chance that he got, Imam Sajjad didn't have, of spreading the knowledge, his relation to knowledge and how he spread it. When we see military and armies, their strength is in the military planning, is in using the weapons. If these armies, they don't have the religion, if they don't have the political experience, that wouldn't affect as much on their victory. It doesn't affect as much on their victory. So what they need in the strength of the army and to be victorious is the planning that depends on knowledge and a special ability to use the technological weapons. While in the religions and in the sects, this thing doesn't happen, the religion doesn't succeed with weapon, with the strength of the weapon. It succeeds with the knowledge, because the rule in the religion that there is no forcing. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. The religion doesn't work with forcing and with power and with weapon. It works with knowledge, with answering the questions in the people's mind that they don't have the answers to. When other religions, they ask questions like that priest at the time of Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, who used to live in the mountain, and every year he used to come out, and the Christians used to gather around him and ask him questions. Imam Al-Baqir went there, covering his face, trying to not let others know him, and he sat, and that priest asked him, "Are you from us?" He said, "No." He said, "Are you of the knowledgeable ones or the ignorant ones?" Imam was so humble. He said, "I'm not of the ignorant ones." He didn't say, "I'm a knowledgeable person." And the person started to ask him questions. And Imam Al-Baqir answered these questions in front of the people. The priest, he said, he was angry. He said, "Well, how did you let this person come inside and you refused to give any further questions?" And he went back inside his mountain. He never left his place through the knowledge. That's why we see now most of religions and the sects, they stayed and continued because of the knowledge that they had, apart from the oppression that is applied on them. Like us, how many oppression around the world is applied on the Shia? But because of the strength of the knowledge that they have, they continued and they stayed, thanks to the Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, and he started that. وَيَظْهِرُهُ إِظْهَارًا. وهذا معناه, as I said, that the knowledge has a deep end and has a shell. Imam Al-Baqir split the shell open and went into the deep end and brought it obvious to the people. A second point, we believe, because I said there are 3 points to answer why the interest in delivering the salutation and naming Imam Al-Baqir with that name. The second point, we believe that the Prophet salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi didn't die till he delivered all the message. That Prophet delivery, the divine delivery of the message, what form did it take? Did he deliver all the details of the religion, or he delivered a part and he stored a part in his successors to deliver it to people? Of course, it's the second answer. He stored part of the knowledge and the details in his successors, because at the time he wasn't able to show it all to the people. People didn't accept as much. Enemies were there. He was trying to establish the religion. Number 3, the Imams, salawatullahi wasalamu alayhi, when it comes to religion in general and to the sect in specific, they had different stages in delivering the details of the religion. First stage is to establish the religion, and the Ma'sumin and the Imams, they took care of that. Like when we read in the words of Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he says, "Aym Allah, lawla makhafat al-furqa." If I wasn't afraid to the deviation of the Muslimin and the Islam would be wiped, we would take different stances at the time. We would do different actions at the time. Imam al-Hasan says, when he did the truce with Muawiyah, he says, "Inni khashitu an yujdatha al-Muslimun." I was afraid that the Muslimin will be taken from the roots. And yujdatha al-Muslimun min ala wajh al-ard. So I wanted to be at least one Muslim that would preach. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says, "Allahumma, oh Allah, you know that the fight that happened between me and these people wasn't because of throne. It was not even agreed in this chair that's wood, that's going to be a fire for a heater or something. ولكن لنرد المعالم من دينك." So we establish the details of your religion. And the second stage that the Imams did was the completion of the divine project, which is the crystallization, making everything clear to the people. And because this established religion, now the details has to be delivered to the people. And the first person to do that was Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. That's why when we read in the narration of the Sahifa, that letter that Jibreel brought it from heaven to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi while he was on deathbed, he gave it to Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he was sealed with few seals. Imam Ali alayhi salam broke his and he read it. And then before he died, he gave it to Imam Hassan. Imam Hassan did the same to Imam Hussein till it reached Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam. Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam opened it and read, in an afti bayna nas. Do the fatwa to the people, give the details to the people. وانشر علوم آبائك, and spread the knowledge of your fathers. ولا تخافن إلا الله, don't be afraid but from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فإنه ليس لأحد عليك من سبيل. There is no one can affect your message right now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them busy in each other. They were fighting over the throne that didn't stay. They had the power of weapon, they had everything, they had the wealth, but how did that affect the religion that they wanted to establish? That deviated religion. Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, with his knowledge and the divine order, he started to give the details, and that's why we are called, as our brother said, Ja'fariyin. It was founded by Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam and continued by Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, and this is the secret behind the emphasis of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam in delivering that salutation and giving the nickname to Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu عليه بلغ العلا بكماله النوراني كشف الدجى بجماله الفتان حسنت جميع خصاله فسباني صلوا عليه وآله بتفاني صلوات اللهم صل على. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the name of Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam to hasten the appearance of Sahib al-Asr wa zaman, and to grant us the tawfiq to be the Jabir of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman, and to fulfill our needs in this dunya and akhirah, and to send upon us his graces and to cure our ill, ولقضاء الحوائج ولتعجيل الفرج المولى صاحب العصر والزمان وكشف غمه وقضاء حوائجه وشفاء المرضى ولقبول الأعمال ولأموات المؤمنين والمؤمنات والشهداء والعلماء. نهدي الجميع ثواب ما قرأنا وثواب المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Inshallah, we should be reciting the Dua Tawassul for the Dastarkhan of Imam Al-Hassan. Inshallah, we should be reciting it together. بثلاث صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله يا إمام الرحمة يا شافي العمة يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد، يا قرة عين الرسول، يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين، يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا إبراهيم يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا، يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الحادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي الأسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا وسي الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الحاجات يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم عمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالمهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين رب العالمين اللهم صل على محمد وسورة مباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات الله صل على